exploration in the series called Everyday Immortality. And today I want to actually discuss a very important topic, very pertinent for our times. And that topic is creating abundance. Everybody wants abundance in their lives, and yet everybody lives in scarcity consciousness. And so let's actually discuss the most efficient way to create abundance in our lives. Okay, let's discuss the most efficient way to create abundance in our lives. And that's what we're going to do today. I am trying to see if I'm receiving your messages, and it looks like I am. So please assure me that you can listen to me clearly, that you can hear the sound, that the microphone is working, and that you'd like to discuss this topic, creating abundance. Creating abundance. Well, I'm going to start. So, if the essential nature of existence is infinite, lavish, extravagant, surplus, overflowing, did I say extravagant? Extravagant, abundance, then why is there so much poverty in the world? Why is there so much suffering in the world? Why is there so much anxiety in the world? Right now, as COVID-19 pandemic streams through the world, spreads to the world, the other thing that's happening is also extreme existential anxiety, fear of death, inflammation, compromising immune system, and that is also increasing the morbidity and mortality from COVID-19 pandemic. And then there's the whole financial crisis that's happening as people are being laid off, as people are losing their jobs, as people are applying for unemployment benefits. Obviously, there's a lot of panic around financial security. There's a lot of panic around physical health. There's panic around the fear of severe morbidity, and ultimately panic even about death. That's happening. And of course, the financial crisis is happening. And stress is aggravating the inflammatory storms that are making the COVID-19 pandemic even more dangerous. So 3 epidemics right now: COVID-19, stress and compromising our immune system, and financial distress. And they're all connected, obviously. So let us address today a very fundamental issue, and that is, if our existence has its source in infinite abundance, then how come we are suffering even financially? How come we are suffering financially? So how come we are in this crisis of radical poverty across the world? 50% of the people don't even have enough to eat every day. And then 80% are in some kind of financial dire straits. And I'm told that in the United States, people have savings of maybe $500 to $1,000 at the most. So we have a situation. The source of existence is infinite abundance. In every seed is the promise of thousands of forests. Yet, and in every object is actually the history of the universe. Doesn't matter what the object is. You, your hand, this microphone, this book, the computer. In every object is the history of the universe, from unmanifest to manifest, and it's history of abundance in creativity, history of abundance in art, history of abundance in infrastructures, history of abundance in businesses, history of abundance in culture, history of abundance in scientific discovery, history of abundance in the creation of mega cities, metropolises, history of abundance in transportation systems across the world, history of abundance in technology, history of abundance in creating vast industries and industrial complexes, history of abundance in Silicon Valley, history of abundance everywhere. And yet, scarcity. Yet people can't eat. Yet people fight every day about money. Yet people are asking for unemployment benefits. People are losing jobs. So what's going on? Took me a long time to get here. And what's going on is scarcity consciousness. And scarcity consciousness comes from not knowing who you are. Simple. Scarcity consciousness comes from identifying yourself with a limited experience of identity. Once again, scarcity consciousness comes from confusing who you are at the source with how you have literally squeezed yourself into a very narrow identity. And I'm not going to go over all the previous videos that I've shared in this space, in this series, Everyday Immortality, Creative Solutions for Existential Suffering, and also for the fear of death, and basically how to live in the timeless now and be grounded in what we call the lightness of being. So I'm not going to go over all that, but here we are, infinite beings with selective memories and selective imagination and limited identity with limited attachments that we cannot detach from, experiencing scarcity for the most part, while having a bank account which has the infinite flow of abundance. Like a homeless person sitting on the street, not knowing the code to open their bank account, but if they knew the code, then they would see that the bank account is infinite. And they'd just forgotten the code, and they had also forgotten that they had an account with infinite supply of abundance. Now, once you remember that you have an account with infinite supply of abundance, you have the code, you can, lock into it, you can open the account, and then you know that you can take any amount of money, any amount from the account, but it still remains infinite, then what would happen? What would happen? Well, in the beginning, you might go crazy. You might buy a yacht or an airplane, a private jet, big house, etc. But then you look into the bank account and it's still infinite, because whatever you take out from the infinite remains infinite. That's the famous mathematical formula. Infinity divided by infinity is infinity. Infinity multiplied by infinity is infinity. Infinity subtracted from infinity is infinity. Infinite divided by infinity is infinity. No matter how much you take out of infinity, infinity remains. And whatever you take out is actually just a symbolic, finite expression of the infinite. Doesn't diminish the amount of abundance in the infinite. So let's say you knew that, you had the code, you could take out anything. After a while, you would say, these airplanes and these yachts and these private homes doesn't really feel that good, because there's so many people out there still suffering. And they're suffering, of course, because they don't know they have the same account and they have the same key and they have a code. And so they're suffering. And it doesn't feel right for me to be having access to infinite abundance. So maybe I should help them, and maybe I should, be more generous in my spending and philanthropy, and offering my resources and my abundance to anyone in need of help. Maybe I should help with all the distress that's happening in the world right now by contributing to a food camp, or contributing to first line responders, health workers. There's so much help that is needed, notwithstanding the $1 trillion deficit that we're going to have, or many trillions of dollars, because we are actually borrowing money now from future generations to pay our bills at the moment. And so we're going further into debt because of our scarcity consciousness. But since I have access to infinite abundance, I might as well spread it around, help people. But then, would it be better if they could also have access to the same account? Because the account is infinite, and no matter who takes out how much from the account, it will remain infinite. So there's nothing for me to be concerned about. Let me open the account to everyone who's interested, give them the key, and give them the code, and let them take as much as they want and spend it in any way they want on whatever they want. And if a lot of us did this, then oh boy, this world would be amazing. It would be peaceful, it would be just, it would be sustainable. There would be both financial security, social justice, economic justice. We wouldn't be worrying about our biological sustainability or environmental sustainability. We'd all be happy and peaceful and joyful. All we need is everyone have access to this account and the code and the key. So what is the code? What is the key? The key is a state of being. The key is a state of consciousness. The key is everything that I already have. The key is something that I already have. So let's open it up. Here's the key, my friends. It's in one word, one phrase. Abundance consciousness. Abundance is a state of consciousness that creates infinite abundance, infinite affluence, infinite generosity, generosity of spirit. We use that word, generosity of spirit, because spirit is infinite, has infinite abundance, and is infinitely generous. Okay. So abundance consciousness leads to the fulfillment of every possible desire you can have. That's what abundance consciousness is. Every possible desire. Material, emotional, psychological, spiritual. That's abundance consciousness. The opposite of that is scarcity consciousness. And if you have scarcity consciousness, it doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank, billions and billions and billions, but you're always going to be fearful of spending it, fearful of enjoying it, fearful of sharing it, fearful of giving it away. What kind of life is that? Okay. Scarcity consciousness is responsible for social injustice, for economic injustice, for pillage and plunder of the natural resources, for climate change, for war, for terrorism, for everything that's wrong in the world right now. The cause is scarcity consciousness. So, if we switched from scarcity consciousness to abundance consciousness, then not only will we be happier, but we'll make the world happier. Abundance consciousness is all that you need, along with one more phrase, lightness of being. Abundance consciousness plus lightness of being. And I like that expression, lightness of being, because it means that you're a light being. You're a light being. As soon as you sacrifice your absolute infinite light being for a finite attachment, as soon as you do that, the light being becomes heavy. The mind, emotions, all of that is heaviness imposed on the lightness of being, spirit, infinite, abundant, lavish, extravagant, without cause, formless, boundless, shapeless. Now, light being. You are a light being. If you can experience that right now. No anticipation, no concerns, no resistance, no regrets, no stories. I'm a light being present right now, accessing abundance consciousness. I am a light being right now, accessing nature, infinite, abundant, lavish, extravagant, unbounded, formless. Ground yourself in the lightness of being and cultivate abundance consciousness. How do I do that? Now, very few of you are going to follow what I'm going to say, but those of you who do, you'll be infinite billionaires in every aspect of life. In every aspect of life. But as I said, very few will follow this. So, what am I going to say? Ground yourself in the lightness of being. Go beyond the secret passages, the dark alleys, the ghost-filled attics of the mind, constantly worrying about the future, regretting the past, imagining big houses and lots of money. You're already there. Cultivate abundance consciousness through lightness of being. Abundance consciousness. Now I introduce a third phrase, love in action, generosity of spirit. Give, 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 give. If you have lots of money, give it. Give it to good causes, give it to people who need it, give it to people who could use it, give it to creative people who could start businesses, give it to venture capitalists who are making a difference in the world. So the more money you have, the more you give. Don't worry about it. Okay? And see what happens. The more you give, the more you will receive. It's been said forever, but very few people listen to it. So if you have lots of money, give, 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 give. As much as you can. Lavishly. Generosity of spirit. If you don't have money, then give love in action. Give love in action by deep listening to people and what they want. What they want. Deep listening to people. Give love in action by deep caring. Tell people you're there for them at all times. That you care. That you have empathy, you have compassion, that you have love, and you mean it. Tell them you're there for other people. You're holding their back. Third, Accept them as they are. Don't try to change them. It's hard enough for you to change yourself. And fourth, and I've said this before, appreciation. Notice the gift that they are to you just by their presence in your life. My 4 favorite things: acceptance, appreciation, affection, and attention. That's it. Give unlimited attention, appreciation, affection, gratitude, and caring and acceptance. Yourself, be a model for love in action, period. That should be the mantra. And help people. Instead of saying, what's in it for me? Ask yourself, how can I help? And how can I help without anxiety? How can I help without validation and recognition? How can I help in this moment? How can I help without expecting anything in return? How can I have largesse and generosity of spirit? And go for it. Lightness of being, right now, this moment, right now, not even a moment in time, but being here now with your presence, with the presence of your being, number 1. That's lightness of being. Be a light being. 2, access your infinite nature. How do you do that? Generosity of spirit. And see what happens. Try, see what happens. Affluence in all its forms will flow into your life. Abundance in all its forms will flow in your life. And when you go deeper and deeper and deeper into the lightness of being, you will lose all fear of death, which is the fear of the unknown in disguise. But actually, we're already living in the known being the prison of the past. You lose the fear of death. You lose all other fear. You will feel beneath no one. You will feel fearless. You will give because you expect nothing. You will be invincible. You see, if I expect nothing, I am invincible. If I can only give, I'm invincible. If I have access to a bank account, which is infinite abundance, giving never diminishes me. And if giving diminishes you, please don't give. If giving diminishes you, don't give. But then question why it diminishes you. And you realize you're in scarcity consciousness. So once again, abundance consciousness, lightness of being, love in action. Just those 3 phrases. And we are on our way. And if enough of us are on our way, the whole world will benefit. 1 billion people in abundance consciousness, and we will have a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, and joyful world. We need each other right now. We need each other to shift into abundance consciousness. And if we do that, we'll be always rich as you want to be. Infinitely rich. So that's the mantra. Lightness of being, abundance consciousness, love in action. Let's remember a few words for today. Put your awareness in your heart and just repeat these words. Infinity, immortality, abundance, affluence, generosity. Infinity, immortality, affluence, abundance, generosity. That's who we are. Let's choose a mantra today. Prema. Aham prema. I am love in action. Aham prema. Okay, my friends, till tomorrow. And you have all been participating in this consciousness together. We are all embedded in the one consciousness. sharing these ideas. I'm receiving lots of affection from you, lots of love from you, lots of abundance from you. And so I wish you the same. And this is where we'll go. Create abundance for ourselves and the world. Thank you and have a wonderful day.